again, the Black community is in a state of emergency, and that goes in so many ways. And just because you guys stuck through all the heaviness of this episode, I need you to see the heaviness of this woman.
I hate when people talk about Black women being obese. I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Oh my goodness. So this woman of width right here is sitting here trying to make it seem like the reason that so many Black people and so many Black women are fat is because of the conditions that we've been put into. Girl, if you don't get out of here with this Harriet Tubman era diet, I'm so tired of Black people using the excuse of, well, we're obese because we have this diet and we have this diet because of the slaves. And when we were slaves, we were forced to eat all this. Girl, it is 2025. If you don't take yourself to Whole Foods, in fact, you can stay at Walmart. You can stay at Food for Less. But you don't have to go to the fancy cakes and zebra cakes and the cosmic brownies. You can pick up a vegetable. Apples are right there. You saw Ashton Hall doing his morning routine with the bananas. Black folk can eat bananas. Oh no, they're gonna take that out of context and say I'm calling them us monkeys, child. I'm not, but you can eat a banana. You don't have to be a monkey to eat a banana. So this whole narrative is just out of control. And then it's like when people try to have this whole energy of Black people are still so obese at large, because I should have pulled up the statistics, but the stats of how obese Black people are is really out of control. Okay. But to even try to blame our ancestors for that, it's like our ancestors were working in the heat and being starved. Weren't slaves being starved? So how are you fat today, Miss Mamas? How are you a woman of width with a big back today because Harriet Tubman was forced to eat corn with no gravy? Out of control. So I want to give you all a little history lesson, just some of the things that big-backed Black people, didn't mean to say big-backed Black people, but some slave foods that we still eat a lot today. So a lot of the slaves, they were forced to eat cornmeal. And, you know, this was a cheap staple back in the day. It would often be just mush. But sometimes if there was a delicacy, they would get cornbread or hoe cakes. You know, these high carb, low nutrient, poorly digestible foods. That's what a lot of Black people, the slaves, were eating. A lot of corn, which nothing wrong with some corn. But having that as your primary food, like, definitely not good for you. We had to eat a lot of pork, a lot of fat back, which is why a lot of Black people today, or a lot of Black people of that era, had fat backs. But at the same time, they really didn't because they were out working. Okay. But, you know, the reason I bring this up is because this is an excuse that I'm tired of hearing. It's like I grew up eating a lot of pork chops. I grew up eating a lot of chitlins. If you don't know, chitlins are pig intestines. And you know what? I won't lie. Chitlins is a delicacy. It is a hood delicacy. I enjoy a nice bowl of chitlins, but you have to have the Frank's Red Hot. I don't want Louisiana hot sauce. I don't want sriracha. I don't want any other hot sauce. Don't bring me an off-brand. If I'm eating chitlins, I want Frank's Red hot sauce. My cousin calls them booty noodles because they're very nasty inherently. And I don't eat everybody's chitlins. I only eat my mother's, my auntie's. And that's really it, because chitlins have to be cleaned for 5 hours per bucket, even after you buy them pre-cleaned. And if you don't buy them pre-cleaned, I'm not eating your chitlins because that's just nasty. Okay, they ate a lot of molasses, so they needed a little sugar. They ate spoiled meat quite often. They ate a lot of beans, a lot of peas, so high protein, high fiber, but not that many other nutrients in there. They ate a lot of forage greens, okay? A lot of sweet potatoes. So a lot of this is the stuff that in the Black community is still very common today. And obviously other communities eat this stuff too, but they had much smaller portions. So part of why you didn't see Harriet and all the other slaves being big backed is because they had small portions. You don't need to eat so much food is the moral of the story. You don't need to be fat even if you still have the diet of your ancestors. And you can change your diet too, okay? I'm Black. I grew up eating a lot of hood delicacies. My poor broke Black self, I used to be eating fried salami on wheat bread. And that was a delicacy to me. But you know what I eat now? I eat an Air One. I throw an avocado in my meal, okay? I don't eat seed oils. I don't eat that. And you notice this? My back isn't big. My back is not big. So this excuse of why a lot of black people are fat is because of what happened in the past. That's out of control. But then they even try to make it seem like it's because of today with all the stress and mental health issues that black people have. That is more often than not your own fault. Okay, to try to blame racism as why you're stressed out and why your mental health has you eating so much, please. How are you that stressed? If you're that stressed out, then you're too stressed to eat. If you're that stressed out, then go to the gym. Utilize walking and running and lifting weights to mitigate your stress. You don't need to blame poverty and racism for the reason that your back is big. And the crazy part is there's so many studies out there that attribute the reason that black people are fat because of racism. Then why, when a bunch of black people live amongst other black people, are they all fat? If we're being so for real. And I'm so passionate about this because I want us to live longer. I want us to live better lives. I want us to be a more civilized society that looks good and feels good because we have great genetics more often than not when it comes to athleticism and all these different things. So use that strength of pushing weights to also push a plate away. Because cultural diet patterns, yes, it largely comes from the lineage of you eat what your parents ate and your parents ate what your grandparents ate and so forth. But these historical struggle meals, it's not an excuse anymore. Girl, you were taking up 3 seats. I don't know how that one seat was even holding her big self. Goofy. Stop blaming that. Stop blaming your width on trauma. If anything is a better argument, I can understand the socioeconomic element of the argument because a lot of black people are in poverty and a lot of these impoverished neighborhoods, I want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say it's like close to a quarter of black neighborhoods are not close to a grocery store. So a lot of times they resort to eating fast food instead of healthy foods. And because fast food sometimes, or more often than not, is cheaper. I don't know if it still is. I don't eat at like McDonald's and stuff anymore unless I'm truly desperate after the club or something. But when it comes to eating fast food, it's like, it's hard to believe that you can't find somewhat healthier options. It might not be the food that you want to eat, but at least you would be healthier. And I understand the sadness of you live in poverty, so all you want is a good meal. It's like, okay, then don't complain about being fat. Don't complain about being fat and get yourself out of that situation. And when it comes to the people that I do have great empathy for, of the socioeconomic people, because I remember when I was younger and I would be with especially some of my more poor cousins and like I remember there was this deal at the gas station that I hate to say it like this, but my black friends and I used to go to, where if you would get $1 and a dime, we would go and look for $1 and a dime worth of change, and that was enough to get a hot dog and a free pop. Because the hot dog was $1, tax was 10 cents, and you got a free pop for it, and that we were the happiest kids in the world. So I understand that the cheap delicacies, that tends to be a way, and you know, all of us in that situation, we were all either on welfare, link cards, WIC, or all of the above. And link cards, I think, might just be a regional thing in Illinois. But you know what? I feel like there should be incentives with those cards where you can get a discount on healthy food. I could support something like that for people who really actually should be qualified. Now, granted, when it comes to welfare, there needs to be drug testing and all these other protocols that come with it. But I do believe that there should be incentive for buying healthy foods. I think that there should be limitations on buying junk food. I ate way too many Flamin' Hot Cheetos in my youth. It is a miracle that I even still have a metabolism, let alone organs that function. I was constantly eating Doritos and Flamin' Hot Cheetos and all of that because that was what we liked, and that was also what we could afford. But if you made it more accessible to have fruit and fresh fruit and those different things in the home as well, I think that these young black kids can develop a taste palette for that as well, because we all know black people, we all know a lot of black people who like a lot of fruit, not just watermelon or grape, but a lot of fruit. Black people like strawberries too. And on that positive note, I hope you go and have some strawberries and grapes and bananas and fresh fruit in the name of being healthy. Shout out to the black community and shout out to the black healthy people without big backs.